So here it is. Here it is. I'm reading this book with the prehistoric people, the Akikuyu of British East Africa, and here it is. The Akikuyu country is as fertile as it is beautiful. The only problem for the student is how people so naturally unwarlike has contrived to possess and hold so desirable a residence. Okay, listen to this. So they think that the land is so beautiful because when Sir Charles Eliot was asked to describe the land in Kenya, he said that with its bright red soils and high rainfall, Kenya, the central province of Kenya, was easily the most beautiful and the most fertile place on earth. And therefore he concluded, it was perfect for the British. I like how these people see these things. I like how they see these things. So they're asking, the Kikuyu country is as fertile as it's beautiful. The only problem for the student is how our people, naturally so unwarlike, has contrived to possess and hold so desirable a residence. That we are so undeserving to live in a place that is so beautiful and so fertile. This is just incredible. The entitlement, just the belief that nobody else deserves anything that is good is just incredible. So anyway, she speaks about the customs when she first arrived, and she speaks about something that I found really interesting because my grandmother used to do this. So she's talking about spitting as a sign of gratitude or something good happening. And what she says was that when and she described an incident that happened, and I'll tell you how that is relevant. So basically what she said was that when people show gratitude and when people are happy, they basically will spit. So she talks about spitting. And I remember seeing my grandmother, when you give her a gift or something nice, she will go, but that's literally her being grateful. It's like a prayer. And that's what she would do. And that specifically reminds me of my grandmother. And so she talks about, by she, I'm talking about Catherine Rutledge and her husband Scoresby, the people who wrote this book in 1902 when they arrived in the central province of Kenya, where I'm from. And so she says about spitting, so to spit upon a person or a thing is an expression of goodwill. Whoa. So like the blacksmith spits upon the sword that he has forged before handing it over to the owner. And the female visitor spits on the newly arrived youngster as a sign of welcome. Oh, that is so funny, my God. But I've seen bits of this information, like before, like you cut grass, like I used to see people spitting on their hand and whatever. But she also makes a comparison. She says, she says, where is it? Oh yeah. So she makes a comparison between the spitting, and she said that the lower classes in England do the same. They spit on a coin as a sign of good luck. But then she's talking about the lower classes, and of course she would have had to be an upper class person in order for her to be talking about the lower classes behaving in such a manner. But she describes something, and the thing is, the writing of these books, which is something that I have struggled with reading any of these books, is the condescending language that they use and how they just view us, which is just interesting. So she says, I once saw an amusing instance of this spitting in accordance with politeness. An unarmed old man was going across a hollow camp square when a large boarhound puppy sprang to its leg and galloped to him for a bit of a frolic. The old fellow suddenly saw it coming, and never having seen such a creature, for the Akikuyu have no dogs. Yeah, the Akikuyu never used to keep dogs. Yeah, my people never used to keep dogs. They used to keep sheep, mind you. And the sheep, they used to stay in the house. The goats and the sheep, they used to stay in the house. Like you would be literally warming yourselves around the fire, and the sheep would just come and sit next to you and start warming themselves. So I guess that's like having a pet. A pet that, yeah, it's the same thing, isn't it? It's the same thing. Okay, so this is what she says. So the Kikuyu have no dogs. And so this man was very frightened and turned to fly. Then it dawned on him that it was the strange beast of the white man. So he stopped, knelt down, spat on his palm of his hand, and extended it to the puppy, so as to express amity in the same way as he would have done his master. This language really annoys me. Now the dog had been taught to shake hands, and of course, because the dog is full of courtesy. So now the dog had been taught to shake hands. So of course, when it reached him, it sat up and extended its paw, and the friendless relationship began between the two. Do you know what though? Like, it's, I have to keep reading these books because I get so much out of them, but it really upsets me the way, because this is genuinely how they believed that they were superior, and this is genuinely how they believed that we are inferior, and not even believe, to this day they still believe so. And I find it so difficult to read these books just because they're so condescending, and it's a basic necessity for me to be able to, if you like, it's like mining for gold. You're just have to do all this hard work just to pull out a few gems in order to find out who I am and where what my customs were before they were destroyed. So why don't you like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know what you think.